What's poppin', everyone? It's Scout Eveleth, your local realtor, and today we are going to be talking about the truth about all the taxes and hidden fees here in the Villages, Florida. In today's video, we'll be covering why tax rates vary depending on where you live in the Villages, hidden costs that could be adding thousands to your annual expenses, and tips to save money and ensure that you're not overpaying, including strategies to lower your taxes. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or just wanting to stay up to date on everything that's happening here in the Villages, Florida, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Also, be sure to check out my new website, scoutthevillages.com, for the best way to find a home here in the Villages, Florida, linked at the top of the description down below. Thank you so much, and let's get right into it. First, let's go over the basics and talk about tax rates throughout the Villages. If you're new to Florida, or even just new to the Villages, you might be surprised to learn that property tax rates are not set at a state level. Instead, they're determined by local governments like counties, cities, and special tax districts. And here's where things really get interesting. Since the Villages is so large, it actually spans across 3 separate counties. And these counties are Lake, Sumter, and Marion, and each one has its own tax rate depending on where the home is located. Now, this is very important to keep in mind because deciding where to buy a home in the Villages will have a big impact on how much you pay in taxes each year. So let's take a look at a map together so we can get a better understanding of how this all works. So as you can see, this is a map of the entire Villages, and this is going to give you an idea of how everything is laid out. Let's start off by taking a look at Lake County. This includes parts of the Villages near Leesburg and Fruitland Park. Now, Lake County does have the highest tax rate out of all the counties here in the Villages. But next, we're going to be talking about Sumter County. And currently, there are more homes in Sumter than anywhere else in the Villages, and fortunately, it also has the lowest tax rate. So if you live in Sumter, you're also paying less than the average Floridian when it comes to property taxes. And lastly, we have Marion County. This includes mostly older parts of the Villages and is located on the northern end near Summerfield. And Marion County usually falls somewhere between Sumter and Lake when it comes to tax rates. So what does this mean for you and your wallet? Well, if you live in Sumter County, then you're getting a pretty good deal compared to other parts of Florida, or even the Villages for that matter. But if your home is in Lake County, you're usually paying more in taxes than your neighbor who could be just a few miles away. And here's something else that will surprise most of you. Within the Villages itself, property taxes vary by zip code, meaning homes in the same county but different zip codes may have different tax rates. For example, the zip code 32163, which covers newer areas in the Villages like Fenny and Southern Oaks, have taxes that are about 20% higher than other parts of Sumter County. Meanwhile, homes in the 32159 zip code, which includes older areas like Lady Lake and Spanish Springs, have a much lower tax rate overall. So why is there such a big difference? Well, this has to do with municipality tax rates, which vary by location and are set by local governments to fund essential services. Higher tax rates often support more extensive public service, while lower tax rates may result in fewer resources or alternative fees. These rates can change due to budget needs, property value shifts, or voter-approved methods. And while lower taxes may seem appealing, they can also mean reduced public services or higher cost elsewhere. But understanding local tax rates is crucial when considering a move, as they are directly impacting both the cost of ownership and the quality of the community services. So if you're house hunting or just curious about what your neighbor's tax bill looks like and how it may be different than yours, be sure to keep this in mind. So what are most of the residents paying? Well, now that we've talked about tax rates, let's get into what residents actually pay, because that's really what matters at the end of the day. I've gathered 3 separate tax bills for homes with identical floor plans. All are the exact same size and layout, and they were all purchased within the past 6 months. The only difference is each home is in a different county, so let's see what that actually looks like. First up is Lake County, which includes neighborhoods near Leesburg and Fruitland Park. This could include areas like Pine Ridge and parts of the historic side of the Villages. Now, let's check out Sumter County, which covers most of the Villages and specifically areas like Brownwood and Lake Sumter Landing. Here, the average taxes are not exactly cheap, but usually much more manageable for many retirees than the tax rates they are used to paying back up north. And finally, we have Marion County, which includes neighborhoods near Summerfield like Spruce Creek South or Stonecrest. Taxes here tend to fall somewhere between Sumter and Lake counties, but they're often closer to Lake County levels because Marion County has historically had higher millage rates, which is how the taxes are calculated. So why are there such big differences for similar homes in each of the different counties? Most of it comes down to how local townships and governments set their millage rate, which is just a fancy term for how much tax is charged per $1,000 of assessed property value. But there's another factor at play here, which is the bond, and it's the hidden cost of homes that most people don't fully understand. So let me explain bonds, because this is pretty unique specifically to the villages. And what I'm about to say is especially true whether you're buying a pre-owned or a brand new construction home. When developers build a neighborhood, here they issue bonds to pay for all the shiny new infrastructure. This can be anything from roads to sewers or even utilities, it doesn't matter, you name it. These bonds are essentially loans that need to be paid back over time. And guess who gets stuck with that bill? Unfortunately, that would be you, the homeowner. For many new homes in the villages, especially those south of Highway 44, bond obligations can be as high as $50,000 or more. And those aren't one-time payments. They're spread out over 30 years and paid annually with your property taxes. Now, it's not uncommon for this to be an extra $1,000 to $2,000 per year. This means that even if two identical homes have similar assessed values and tax rates, the one with an outstanding bond will have significantly higher annual cost than the one without. And that would also be assuming that they're in the same county. If one of these was in Lake and the other was in Sumter County, then the differences would be even more staggering. To better understand the bond and other hidden fees, we need to talk about all the CDD fees, what they are, and why they matter. So let's dive deeper into these hidden CDD fees. These fees are used to fund many different aspects about the villages that contribute to making it such a desirable place to live. This can be anything from golf courses to pools, recreational centers, utilities, fires, and EMS services, or even landscaping the common areas. And CDD fees are paid along with your annual property taxes. Depending on where you live within the villages and how new or established your neighborhood is, your CDDs will vary quite a bit. In my experience, the fire assessment usually ranges anywhere from $150 to $350 per year. And the maintenance fee will usually range anywhere from about $550 to $850 per year as well. But my recommendation is to plan on spending at least $1,000 per year just to cover the fire and maintenance fee. Additionally, there is an amenity fee that gets paid monthly, giving you access to all the recreational activities and amenities the villages has to offer. This ranges from their world-class golf courses to state-of-the-art fitness centers, community swimming pools, pickleball courts, and everything in between. Now, whether you plan to use these amenities a lot, a little, or not at all residents in the villages are required to pay this fee. The fee just went up this year to $199 per month, and this will usually get billed along with your water, trash, and sewer on a monthly basis. So while CDD fees aren't technically taxes, they're definitely something that you need to factor into your budget. And if you're thinking about moving to the villages, it's crucial to understand these costs up front so you can plan accordingly. So now that you understand more about these extra costs, here's how you can work on saving some money. The good news for homeowners in Florida is there are several exemptions available that can help lower your property taxes each year. The most common one is the homestead exemption, which reduces the taxable value of your home by up to $50,000 if it is your primary residence. Now, there are a few ways to qualify for a homestead exemption, but on screen now are some of the options for establishing permanent residency from the state of Florida's website. And this can save you anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s per year, depending on your local tax rate. There are also additional exemptions available for seniors over 65, veterans with disabilities, widows, blind persons, or totally and permanently disabled persons. If you qualify for any of these exemptions but haven't applied yet, you're leaving money on the table. To apply for these, you'll need to contact your local property appraiser's office, and they can guide you through the process and help you determine which exemptions you might be eligible for. If you still have questions or need help getting started, feel free to text me or email me. My contact information is always in the description down below. But now this brings up the question, why do taxes and CDD fees vary so much across different parts of the villages? It all comes down to what stage of development each area is in and how much infrastructure still needs to be paid off through bonds or other assessments. For example, newer areas like those in the southern part of the villages often have higher fees and bond payments because they're still paying off many of the initial development cost. Meanwhile, older areas like Lady Lake have lower rates because most of the infrastructure has already been developed, which means most of the bond and other CDD fees have already been paid towards. So if you're house hunting here, it's worth considering not just the home itself, but also the tax implications of where it's located. A small difference in tax rates can now add up to much bigger expenses over time. So what impacts do these tax rates have on local services? Let's take a closer look at what property taxes actually fund, because understanding that is key to recognizing why they matter. Property taxes are a major source of revenue for local governments and supporting essential services. This includes but is not limited to things such as schools, road maintenance, and emergency services. While the Villages is primarily a retirement community, property taxes still contribute to the local education systems, which is especially important for residents with grandchildren in the area or those who value a well-educated community. In addition to funding education, property tax revenue plays a crucial role in maintaining and improving other local infrastructure. This could be anything from road maintenance to golf cart paths, walking trails, and the upkeep of recreational facilities. Collectively, this ensures that our community remains safe and accessible for everyone that lives here. These taxes also help fund emergency services such as police departments, fire departments, and emergency medical services, which would be EMS. And having reliable funding for these services keeps residents protected and ensures quick responses when they're needed. Beyond infrastructure and safety, property taxes contribute to continued community development. They help sustain public services and local government operations, creating a well-supported community for all the residents who live there. These services are essential to maintaining the quality of life that we have known to love here in the Villages. Without them, you would lose more than just well-maintained roads, reliable police and fire department services, or good schools for your grandkids. While no one loves paying taxes, it's important to remember what they're paying for. The varying tax rates across the Villages directly impact the level of services provided in each of the different areas. Higher tax rates often mean more resources for local services, while lower rates may result in fewer resources overall. If you're considering a move to the Villages, understanding these costs and implications is crucial, and potential residents should carefully weigh these factors when making their decision. One of the biggest concerns for retirees considering a move to the Villages is affordability. With rising property taxes, bond obligations, and CDD fees, it can certainly feel overwhelming, particularly for those who live on a fixed income. These costs can add up quickly, and many potential residents may worry how it will impact their financial stability in retirement. However, it's important to remember that the Villages remains one of the most affordable retirement communities in the country. This is especially true when compared to other places offering similar amenities and lifestyle options. The key to managing these costs is careful planning and a clear understanding of what you're committing to financially. For example, while CDD fees and taxes may seem daunting at first, they are tied to the improvement and the infrastructure that make the Villages such an attractive place to live. These fees go towards maintaining roads, landscaping, and public amenities that add to the overall quality of life. Additionally, there are a variety of housing options within the Villages, ranging from smaller, more affordable homes to larger and more luxurious properties, so you can choose a home that fits your budget. Another thing to keep in mind is the long-term value the Villages offers. The area's strong real estate market, combined with its desirable amenities and active lifestyle, can make it a wise investment in your future. You may also find the overall cost of living, including things like healthcare and entertainment, can be more affordable in the Villages when compared to other areas. If you're concerned about navigating these costs, working with a financial advisor or real estate professional familiar with the Villages can help you plan ahead and create a budget that works for you and your retirement goals. So if you're considering the Villages as your retirement haven, don't let the taxes and fees scare you off just yet. With the right planning and a clear understanding of the cost involved, you can find a way to make it work and still enjoy everything this great community has to offer. From its extensive recreational options to the sense of community the Villages provides, it can still be a very affordable and fulfilling place to live in retirement. So there you have it, the truth about taxes and fees here in the Villages. From varying rates across counties and zip codes to hidden costs like bonds and CDD fees, it's clear that understanding these details is crucial if you want to make the most informed decision about living here. So what do you think about property taxes in the Villages? Are they fair? Are they too high? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And with that said, I hope you found this video helpful or enjoyable. If you did, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. As always, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought about today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.